Hello, this is probably the most important formula you'll ever learn in business. And unlike the horrible algebra that we had to endure at school, this one is incredibly simple, but very, very powerful. And it's really focused around 5 key numbers in your business. And by improving each of those numbers, you can have a huge impact on your profit, not just adding to your profits, but multiplying them. So let's take a closer look. So first of all, at the top of the formula, we have leads generated. This is the number of prospects, people in your database, people who visit your website that are prospects, but they've not yet converted to become a customer. Next, we have the conversion rate. So this is the number or the percentage of prospects that convert and become a paying customer. So for example, if 2 out of 10 prospects converts and becomes a customer, that's a conversion rate of 20%. So leads generated times conversion rate equals the number of customers. Next in the formula are the number of transactions per year. So this is working out on average how many times does a particular customer or a group of customers buy from you on average per year, and what is the value of those transactions? What's the average value of those transactions? And now if you times customers by the number of transactions by the value of those transactions, you get to your overall revenue number. And the fifth most key number in this is the margin. So working out what is your margin on your sales. So timesing the revenue by your margin gives you your profit. So let's put some numbers into this and bring it to life a little bit. So let's have an imaginary company. They do 4,000 leads a year. They do a 25% conversion rate of those leads into customers, giving them 1,000 customers. Those customers are on average transacting twice a year, and each of those transactions on average is worth 100 quid. So if you add customers times number of transactions times value of those transactions, that gives you a revenue number of £200,000. Finally, we're going to take that revenue number and we're going to assume that the margin in this case is 25%, multiply those two numbers together, and that gives you £50,000 of profit. Now, if you come and work with me and an action coach, one of the first things we'll do is delve deep into your numbers, into your dashboards, into your reporting, or if you haven't got reporting, set up reporting to find and capture the numbers so we understand exactly what is happening in your particular business. So now I'm going to show you how focusing on each of the 5 metrics that we can influence, you can really drive an exponential improvement in your profits. And we're not going to use crazy numbers here either. We're going to use a fairly modest, achievable number of a 10% improvement in each of the 5 key metrics. And at the end of this, I'll show you how that has an exponential impact on your profits. So first off, let's zero in on the lead generation number. And if you remember, we had an original example, 4,000 leads. We're now going to improve that by 10%, which of course will give us 4,400 leads, and many different ways of improving lead generation, either by increasing activity, marketing, promotion, or looking at efficiencies in what you're doing right now, or understanding the channels that are working right now and improving those to get an overall improvement on your lead generation flow. Next, we would look at the conversion rate. And in the previous example, we had 25%. A 10% improvement in that would give you a 27.5% conversion rate. Again, we have over 80 different strategies and tactics to look at here, but often some of the key ones would be, for example, looking at your sales team, efficiency and ability to convert, perhaps sales training is needed, or looking at landing page performance on your website and perhaps doing A/B testing to find out how do we improve that conversion rate. So now we can see an immediate improvement in our customer number. By timesing our new lead generation by 27.5% conversion, we go from the original 1,000 customers to now 1,210 customers. Next is to focus on the number of transactions per customer per year. And in this case, we're going to improve it again by 10%. And we're going to go from 2 transactions per year to 2.2 transactions per year. Again, many different ways of doing this. We have lots and lots of strategies and tactics. Often these include the most fundamental things: getting a database, a CRM established, capturing email records, mobile telephone records and numbers from your customer base, and regularly communicating out to that base. Remind them that you exist, remind them of special offers that you might have, or particular offers targeted at particular segments in your customer base. Next is to zero in on and improve the value of the average transaction per year. Now, in the original example, we had £100 average transaction per customer per year. Of course, applying a 10% improvement to that gives you £110 average transaction per customer per year. Many different ways of doing that. Most basic, of course, would be to do a pricing increase. Amazing how many businesses do not carry out pricing increases on a regular basis. But other tactics can include promotions, upselling. We have over 80 different tactics and strategies to help you think about how do you raise your overall transaction value per customer per year. So now if we take our new customer number of 1,210 customers, if we apply our new average number of transactions per year, which is now grown to 2.2, and now we apply our average value of those transactions, which is now 110, you get to a revenue number of almost £300,000, a huge improvement on the 200,000 that we had in our original set of numbers. So you can immediately see how 10% improvements on each of these lines gives you an exponential improvement in your revenue. Finally, by zeroing in on your margin, originally we had 25%, improving that by 10%, that could be really looking very closely at your cost structure, renegotiating perhaps contracts with suppliers, and a whole range of other tactics, but moving that 25% margin to say 27.5%, a 10% improvement, again, makes a huge impact on your profitability. And we now move from 50,000 in the original example to around 80,000 by applying 10% improvement in all of our metrics, which gives you a staggering 60-odd% improvement in profit. So that vividly shows how this simple formula can really help drive big improvements in your profits. And if you're interested in understanding how you can apply this into your business with all the tactics and strategies that Action Coach and myself have used in many businesses over the years, please drop me a direct message or an email and let's have a conversation. If you're based in the UK, we offer a free 2-week trial coaching period where we can really get into some of these numbers that are specific to your business and show you the power of the 5 ways formula in driving your overall profitability this year.